Today, we're going to talk about a skill that is, no joke, one of the most fundamental things you can learn as a young professional, no matter what you end up doing. And look, this isn't just some boring concept from a textbook. This is a way of thinking that can literally become your professional superpower. So let's jump in.
You see this? An Amazon drone dropping off a package. It honestly feels like magic. You tap a button on your phone and bam, a few hours later, a box just shows up at your door. But it's not magic. It's not sorcery. It's something far more impressive. An incredibly well-designed process.
No, really, just think about it for a second. The last thing you bought online, what were all the invisible steps that had to happen perfectly for that thing to get from a warehouse shelf to your front door? It's this wild, coordinated dance. And understanding how that dance works is what we're going to break down today.
Because here's the secret. Once you start looking, you realize that the entire world is just made up of processes. From the way your favorite coffee shop makes your latte, to how a hospital manages patient care, it's all systems. And learning to see those systems is the first step to making them better.
So what are we even talking about when we say process? It's actually super simple. You take some inputs, could be coffee beans, could be customer information, could be raw steel. You do something to them, you transform them, and what comes out the other side is an output that's more valuable. That's it. Inputs, transformation, outputs. So simple, but so powerful. Okay, so if everything's a process, how do you get your arms around one? How can you possibly improve something that feels, well, invisible? You can't. So you have to make the invisible visible. You've got to draw a map. And the absolute best tool for mapping a process is a flowchart. I know. It sounds kind of old school, but trust me, it's a diagram that just lays out every single step, every decision, every time something has to wait. It takes all the chaos that's happening inside a business and makes it simple, clear, and easy to understand.
And what's great is that you only need a few basic shapes to build one. You've got your rectangles for tasks, the actual work being done. You've got diamonds for any decision point, a yes or no question. These little upside-down triangles, they mean storage or a queue, basically anywhere things have to wait around. And then the arrows just show you which way everything is flowing. With just those symbols, you can map out almost anything.
All right, enough theory, let's make this real. We're going to look at a process we can all wrap our heads around, a little sandwich shop. We'll call it Daffy Dave's. It's the perfect bite-sized example to see how this all works.
So here's the map of Daffy Dave's. It's a nice, simple, straight line. First, you take the order. That takes about a minute. Then you slice the bun and add the meat. That's 3 minutes. Next, you add all the toppings, which takes 4 minutes. And finally, you bag the order, and that's 2 minutes. See that? We just took this invisible process and put it down on paper.
Okay, so we have our map. Now we get to maybe the single most important concept in all of process analysis. This is something you're going to use for your entire career. It's finding the bottleneck. This is where you win. Let's look at the numbers. The person taking orders, super fast. They can handle 60 customers an hour. The meat station, not bad, they can do 20. But, whoa, look at the topping station. 4 minutes per sandwich means they can only get through 15 orders an hour. Do you see the problem? It doesn't matter that the last station can handle 30. The whole system is being held back. And that slowest step has a name. It's the bottleneck. Think of your process like a chain. It's only as strong as its weakest link. For Daffy Dave's, adding toppings is the weak link. The entire shop can only make 15 sandwiches an hour, period. And here's the key takeaway. If you want to make the whole process faster, you have to fix the bottleneck. Improving anything else is a total waste of time. Now, companies have known this for a long time, and they build their whole strategy around how they design their processes. And there is no better real-world classroom for this than fast food. You really have two basic ways to play the game. First is make to stock. That's where you try to predict demand and make stuff ahead of time. It's super fast for the customer, but you end up with a lot of inventory. The other way is make to order. That's where you don't do anything until a customer actually pays for it. It's a bit slower, but you have way less stuff just sitting around. And this slide just shows it perfectly. On the left, that's the old school McDonald's process. See how they've already made the burgers? They're just waiting under a heat lamp for someone to order one? That is classic make to stock. Now look at Wendy's on the right. The customer order comes in first, and then they make the burger. That's make to order. It might take a minute longer, but they built their whole brand around it being fresh. All right, let's switch gears a little bit. We've talked about mapping the process, but what if I told you there's also a kind of secret formula that can instantly tell you how healthy any process is? It's a beautifully simple idea called Little's Law. The formula looks like this. Inventory equals the throughput rate times the flow time. Basically, the amount of stuff in the system is just how fast stuff is coming out, multiplied by how long it takes one thing to get all the way through. Inventory equals rate times time. Simple. Let's see how powerful this is in a real situation. Let's say we're at a car factory. They're cranking out 200 cars every single shift, and they've got a ton of car batteries lying around, some in the warehouse, some already on the assembly line. Is that a problem? Let's find out. First, we just count. We go through the whole plant and find they have 8,300 batteries on hand. Now, right now, that's just a number. It doesn't really tell us much. But with Little's Law, we can figure out what that number really means. So we just rearrange the formula a bit. We take the 8,300 batteries in inventory, and we divide it by the 200 cars they finish each day. And what we find is that they have about a 40-day supply of batteries. 40 days! Think about what that means. That's a huge amount of the company's money just sitting on a shelf, not doing anything. It's taking up expensive warehouse space. And it's a huge risk. What if a better battery comes out tomorrow? Little's Law made that massive, costly problem visible in about 10 seconds. So why does any of this matter to you? I mean, you're probably not running a car factory. It matters because this way of thinking is a playbook, a set of tools you can use on just about anything in your career and even in your own life. I'm serious. Think about that group project you have to do. That's a process, and I bet you can identify the bottleneck. Or what about your job search? It's a process with steps, inputs, and outputs. You can map it out, you can improve it. This thinking gives you a framework to bring order to pretty much any kind of chaos. When you boil it all down, it comes back to this one simple idea. New work is always flowing in. At the other end, finished work has to flow out, and your job as a smart professional is to understand what's happening in between those 2 points and to make that journey as smooth, as fast, and as efficient as possible. So here it is. Learning to see the world as a series of processes is a genuine superpower. It allows you to diagnose problems nobody else sees, to find clever improvements, and to add real value wherever you go. So I'll leave you with this one question. What is the first process in your life that you're going to analyze?